Humanity is born with entity attachments. Yes, we are all possessed. And so it is our job now in this cycle of growth for our planet for us to become aware of the influences that have attached themselves to us in our astral spiritual body and also in our physical spinal cord. They attach in the astral worlds and they attach in our physical spinal cord even when we are born and as babies. And because I teach the sacred fire for cleansing all of this and for the importance of cleaning your lineage, many of these entities come from your family lineage. And so they are passed through to you from your mother and your father and many generations past that. And these entities embed themselves in your astral spiritual body, and then they begin to embed themselves in your spinal cord. And because they start when you are in the womb or just when you are a very young child, 2, 3, or 4, your consciousness is wide open, you're very impressionable, they begin to take your consciousness and speak to you in the astral worlds. They befriend you. And sometimes as little children, we can see them in the room with us. But we for sure as little children are traveling in the astral worlds with these beings, and they pretend to be our friends, our parents, like a father figure, not our literal parents, but they befriend us when we are 3 and 4 years old as a parent figure or a best friend figure. And they don't at all look menacing, although some do. Some do, most definitely, but I'm talking about family lineage patterns, and also there are entities in 4th density that are menacing and look like it. But for the most part, what I'm speaking about family lineage is people don't know they have them, because these entities that are being passed through us through our lineage, these are astral and 4th density beings, and they are very clever. They feed off our energy. They want to keep us trapped on the earth. They want to keep you trapped in the astral purgatory worlds, because almost everybody on this planet when they die goes to the astral purgatory world. They don't know how to free themselves from this density and rise into higher densities, higher realities, beautiful ascended planets. They have no access to those because they have not been taught what's truly happening to them on this planet. We have to go through a major cleansing to get free of this, because there is a great migration that is starting now. It starts with a small group and it crescendos with a larger group in future generations. These videos are for the small group now, but for future generations, because there won't be a lot, but there will be a significant number of people who can free themselves from this astral purgatory realm of 3rd density and ascend into 5th density or 6th density worlds that are beautiful and magnificent in the universe. So my discussion today is to help you understand what you are dealing with. These voices are so integrated because they start when you're a child that you cannot discern them between your own voice talking in your head and them. Now, some of them that are more menacing, you can, but I'm talking about some of these that integrate very early in your life. As a child, they become so familiar. They're like your best friend. They're like that parent figure that their frequency is so bonded to you, you don't even know that there's another voice speaking to you. But that voice never has your best interest at heart. That voice has its best interest at heart. And it feeds off of your emotions. This is why so many people are stuck in the astral world. I mean, in the aspirant level of my 7 levels. They're highly emotional. They're highly attached to their family lineage. They believe in a false and fallen program of reincarnation. That whole program is false and fallen and designed to keep you trapped in the astral worlds. And being addicted to your family and, Lord, these royal lineages that put 800 years of their family on their wall and they are just sucking all that in, these are all things that keep you trapped. So when you die, you never get free of it. You simply go to the mirror worlds called astral worlds or purgatory worlds, which are exactly like these worlds, only in your electromagnetic body. And remember, bodies are abundant in the universe. Bodies are generated and created by your divine blueprint. Consciousness is attached to the blueprint. Consciousness is multidimensional. Consciousness can go up and down in densities and frequencies of consciousness and light, but it gets trapped in a certain frequency when the entire belief systems and structure here has been designed to keep you here. And I have talked about this before. Those of you who are well into my studies know that one of my very first videos was when I was taken back 1,000,000 years ago with a big battle, and I was shown a Syrian body. These are avatar bodies within my soul complex. They are not me. There is no reincarnation. Do not attach to past. Do not attach at all in this world to the past. That's past lives, fantasy, that's your lineage, that's your trouble that you've been through in all your life, that's you wanting to tell your story about, look, I went through this, I did this. Let go of the past. So I was allowed to go and see this Syrian experience, this Syrian body, which is an avatar in my container, my soul container. And I integrated with her to experience this great battle, and there was a fall. They lost. There was a battle at 6th density, and these beings lost. They had corrupted the divine blueprint and was causing wars in a frequency that had never had anything but perfect bliss and peace. And the Syrian Council defeated them and pronounced judgment on them to be moved 2 levels down to 4th density. So this is where the corrupt blueprint abides, is in 4th density. These 4th density beings then created bodies in their own image into 3rd density, and then they set themselves up as gods or masters or controllers or watchers or archons of these 3rd density bodies. And these 4th density beings and all the astral lineage of your family and all the astral stuff, these are the influences you have to deal with every day of your life. And this is why I teach the sacred fire for protection, that you build a sphere. This sphere of protection blocks the astral world. It blocks the 4th density so that you can start communicating with your own divine blueprint, and you can move up higher in consciousness to get to 5th density, 6th density, and up higher. And you can get a clean connection. But also I teach with the sacred fire, you must clean your lineage, and I have programs on how to do that. I also have a Patreon group, please come join, that I give detailed instructions on how to build your sphere of protection, how to clean out your family lineage, how to use your divine gifts of premonition and telepathy and lucid dreaming. All of that is in also this library of videos, but also in my group. So we have to use this sacred fire. This fire, which was activated in me in the 1980s, is designed to free us from the world. Now, it has a lot of reactions in the body similar to a Kundalini activation. People can have that energy rise from their base chakra and shoot up into their head, and they have vibration or they have motion. It's uncontrolled, and you can get crazy in the astral world, and spirit beings love that, and they can take control over it if you don't have mastery over that rising Kundalini. The sacred fire, when it descends, it controls the chakra Kundalini energy so that it is always stated in balance. But one of the things the sacred fire is designed to do in this time period of history, right now and into future generations, this sacred fire is designed to free you from the earth. Because if you do not get free, you will die and go to the astral planes. Now, I'm not saying all the astral planes are negative. There's a lot of hellish area in the astral planes. There's a lot of medium area where, like, I've gone to visit my dead relatives in those areas. They're living just like they lived on earth. They're up there living their lives, whether it was in a city or maybe they're in the country somewhere, and they love to garden, or they love to, whatever they really love to do, they're doing. Some of them are happy and peaceful where they are, but the predominant energy that's floating with them is that they were so attached to this physical body and this physical reality, and then they had entity attachments. And some of them may not have been as malevolent, but they were still attached from their lineage, that they see these people when they die. When most of these people are dying, they are greeted by their dead relatives, because this is in their lineage and they haven't freed themselves. So they go, I can tell you, one of my relatives went, their father met them and they went off with their father. One of my other relatives, their brother met them and they went off. This is how it's done. And then there are higher frequencies in the astral world where saints and very awakened people dwell, and they could have gone into fifth and sixth densities, but because of the time period, which I mentioned in another video, because of the time period being hundreds of years ago, like Catholic saints, for instance, they couldn't leave the dogma of the church. They had to stay confined within the dogma. So they didn't free themselves from their physical identity. So they go into higher astral worlds where their divine blueprint guides can then talk to them about freeing themselves from the astral world and moving into higher densities. They have that ability because as these saints or people who were communicating with angels and Jesus and Krishna or Buddha, whoever they were communicating with, they had an understanding of multidimensional beings and they were interacting. So what I am trying to say is we have to start getting everybody free from the physical world. It's not enough to try and shut out all the noise of the world, because everyone out there yapping at you on YouTube or yapping at, with politics or education, so everybody has these entity attachments. So you are hearing programming, even if it sounds beneficial. Let me teach you, let me give you an education so you can feed yourself and keep yourself in shelter and food and create a family. Those all are not perceived as negative things, but so there are survival, instincts that are constantly given to us, that we have to survive, and so we adopt this as perfectly normal. And while it may not seem particularly negative, what it's doing is it's binding you to a need to survive, a need to have attachment to family, a need to stay with this identity, anchored to this identity, because this identity has to go and survive. I have to go survive. And the more you attach your consciousness to survival instincts, the more it's anchored to this survival reality. We live in a density, a third density reality, and especially this planet that is survival oriented. And it's very hard to separate yourself from survival issues and from polarizing and from negativity, because built into our brain system from the reptilians, the reptilian brain, and even higher parts of our brain are these survival instincts. So we're constantly polarizing everything. Is it positive or negative? Is it going to hurt me or help me? And all of these things continue to embed in us the frequency of this density, and we can't get free of it, friends. We're coming to the end of this program. I've mentioned this before in other videos. And when this migration happens, who's leaving are those that were able to free themselves from this density, because there are great beings up in our blueprint that are in fifth and sixth density, that are waiting to take us into higher bodies of reality and into higher planets of light. There are many wonderful planets in fifth density, wonderful, peaceful, loving planets. And in sixth density, that is a density where bodies are created by thought. Fifth density, they are still generating bodies through planetary programs. But in sixth density, the consciousness is so expanded there, they create bodies by thought. Bodies are abundant in the universe. Planets are abundant in the universe. What is the prize in all of the universe is consciousness. Because when you were born, And your blueprint, your soul, which is a container for consciousness, your soul attaches a frequency of consciousness, to a body that the blueprint creates. So the blueprint may create a third density body, and the soul will determine, well, am I going to create a 6th density, 5th density, 4th density, 3rd density consciousness to match that 3rd density body, depending on how the patterns are created for that body, depends on what level consciousness is attached. So it gives you a specific frequency of consciousness, and it is our job to guard and protect our consciousness, and it is our job to do right by this precious gift we've been given. Our consciousness, how we treat our consciousness, how we grow our consciousness in this lifetime determines where we go after this. And so take care of your consciousness, clean it out, get rid of all the voices in your head. I've done videos also on this about telepathy, who's controlling your mind. Get rid of these attachments by using a sacred fire, cleanse out your entire system, clean out your lineage, build your sacred fire sphere of protection so that once you get clean, you're not bombarded with inside entities. Now you've got a sphere that protects you from outside influences of the astral plane and outside influences of the 4th density beings, these archons, these watchers. And so once you are that protected, your sphere creates your own universe. Inside you, inside the sphere, you're living in your own universe. And you are communicating with the higher beings in your divine blueprint. And remember, I've done videos on the divine blueprint. Your divine blueprint was created from the paradise level, and it descended down 9, 8, 7, 6, all the way down to 3rd. So on your blueprint, there's always higher beings, higher consciousness. You are never without higher guidance, higher self, higher consciousness. But once you get clear of this film that's been burying us here, when you can free yourself from the earth and the astral world, you will have this expanded multidimensional consciousness that I've been talking about for a long time. You will be able to transfer your consciousness from this reality into a higher density body, into a higher density world. And this is what the whole lesson is and the whole focus is of my teachings. How to transfer your consciousness out of this 3rd density, past the 4th density, into 5th and 6th densities, and not die like everyone else and go into the astral, but be a part of this migration that's coming. And it's starting now, but it's going to crescendo. Be a part of this migration that's coming. To do this, friends, we got to get serious about cleaning up our consciousness and protecting it. And so this is my message for today. And I hope you will join me in my Patreon group. And I hope you will subscribe and keep up here with what's going on. You can comment in the comment sections below as well. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you, friends.